Yo, what's up, boys? This is Crazy YouTube Clips. This is my first video on this channel. My name's Colin Deck. LWC Colin Deck are my other channels. And yeah, feel free to check me out. Let's get straight into the video. Let's get straight into it. For the first video, what better to start with than a confession video, like out-of-pocket confessions. This video is what's a confession that you can only post anonymously online, and it is made by Just Reddit Story. If you guys want to check out his channel, he's got 209,000 views on this. So, first dude, straight evil. I don't want to spoil it. Let's get straight into it. All right.
What's a confession that you can only post anonymously online? Story 1. I met someone on a dating app a couple of years ago, and we started a casual civil relationship. She lived a good drive away, and Uber was my main form of transportation at the time. So the first time we met, it cost $70 round trip, more or less, to see her. I was pretty horny, so I had no problem putting up the money. I went straight to her place. The vibes and compatibility were there. I had fun. But the next time she invited me over, I told her I can't afford to see her that often. So I asked if it was okay if we split the Uber fare, and she agreed. It was fun. But I still realized that it wasn't sustainable to keep seeing her. So the next time we spoke, I told her it wouldn't be a good idea to keep seeing each other. She heard my side and then quickly insisted on continuing to see each other casually. So much that she offered to pay the Uber fare for the third time we met. Now, respectfully, she was a bit insecure and was able to be vulnerable and open with me from the very start. So it was a perfect storm of attachment, in my opinion, and I think it's fair to say that she really liked me, hence why she insisted. So I agreed, fair, and she agreed. It was fun, but I still realized that it wasn't sustainable to keep seeing her. So the next time we spoke, I told her it wouldn't be a good idea to keep seeing each other. She heard my side and then quickly insisted on continuing to see each other casually. So much that she offered to pay the Uber fare for the third time we met. Now, respectfully, she was a bit insecure and was able to be vulnerable and open with me from the very start. So it was a perfect storm of attachment, in my opinion, and I think it's fair to say that she really liked me, hence why she insisted. So I agreed. I went to see her the third time, and I had fun again. I didn't want to ask her again for help with Uber, solely from a point of understanding it was too much for anyone to pay for something casual like that. So when she reached out again, I had already planned to cut things off, which was what I told her. But she went on to explain how she was a grown woman, and that we could agree as adults that it's her decision, and how if she wants us to be able to keep having fun, she was willing to pay for the Uber. All that, but I knew it was because she liked me, to be offering to pay for the Uber fare, in my opinion, and I was horny and having fun. So I agreed and decided to keep seeing her. I then said if we continue this way, we should be physically exclusive too, so we can have more freedom in S without worries of STDs, and she agreed. So now no condoms, and she was already on birth control. So I was hooked to the S. She would send me the money for Uber via Zelly, and I went to see her. We had fun. That was it for about a month, and that's a lot because we see each other about twice a week. That was like $500 more or less in Uber. I knew it wasn't right, but I was selfish and was having fun. Then started the darker stuff. A bit after a month of seeing her, I got a bonus at work. It was enough to complete the down payment for a car I was saving for. It was just something I planned on getting for a while, but it never came up in conversation.
What is going on? Like, this is pretty dragged.
She had no idea about the car.
I'm struggling to keep up.
I had the opportunity to tell her in there, but I didn't. I told myself I would keep it a secret, keep seeing her, pretending to still be using Uber. So I responded with something like, hey, you don't have to do that. Just send it how we've been doing. But it was just manipulation. I knew she would insist on sending money this way, and she did. As time passed, I got even worse in my ways. I planted manipulation here and there. Occasionally, I would do things like bring up the Uber app in front of her, ordering the ride so she'd see it. But then I'd cancel it when she wasn't looking and pretend my Uber arrived. She lived several stories up in her condo.
Wait, so he has a car, but he's still making her pay for Ubers, and then he's pocketing the money? Is that... I think that's what's going on.
Apartment. So it was easy to park across the street, out of view, and say that's where my Uber pickup was. So she wouldn't see me from the window, or even if she walked me out, which she did occasionally. I made it even worse. I'm tall and not bad looking, and I wanted more experiences with women. So I eventually decided to get on dating apps again and started casually seeing other women. Protected, of course, because I didn't want to mess up my income from Jane. So there were times where I would go see someone, then later see Jane the same night. I would say things like, can I shower when I get there? I'm stinky from the gym. All kinds of excuses. It happened a couple of times. On top of all that, I occasionally checked the Uber fare rate from my place to hers to keep up with any changes in rates. It fluctuated up and down, and I would let her know I'd be eating more or less because the Uber fare changed, and Jane accommodated. I had to keep it realistic, right? It was all bad. Eventually, I met someone I fell in love with and wanted something serious with, and I broke things off with Jane. And this was when everything mostly came out. She shared how she put a lot of effort into our relationship to try and get me to reciprocate her effort. But I only ever leaned on the, I just wanted something casual. She was hurt, depressed, and burdened by our casual relationship after that because she developed strong feelings for me. We came to an understanding in that part. But I never told her about the car. I apologized for everything except for that because I was a coward to mention it. I took advantage of her, and I feel terrible at it. I'm not proud of it, so I'm letting it out anonymously. Story 2. I, 20F, have been sleeping with my brother's best friend, 23M, of 10 plus years. So let me start from the beginning. Let's call him Eric. I have known Eric since I was in elementary school. He's been my brother's friend.
Before this reacts video today, I was bench pressing, and I put the barbell back down on my knuckle because my wingspan is too big for this rack. So like, when I be bench pressing and I like re-rack it, if my hand slips at all, it'll just get like caught in it. And yeah, that's happened for like the third time. Soki like cooked on the side a little bit too. That like brown little bump right there is like, looks like blood. Might be like a blood clot or something. I don't really know, but yeah, I got pretty cooked today. What up, bruv?
Since middle school, and would always bring him around, but I never talked to him due to being a shy girl until about my sophomore year of high school. There was one random night that resulted in me frequently hanging out with my brother and Eric. Eric is an attractive guy. I always found him cute, but again, he was my brother's best friend, so I never saw him in any type of way. I also felt that I was out of his league, as he's older than me. Anyway, we all grew closer as a group, so we planned a vacation together to Puerto Rico. It was a group of us. My brother, his girlfriend, Eric, his friend, Eddie, myself, and my friend. Our Airbnb had 2 rooms and a living room with a small inflatable mattress and a couch. On the first day, Eric and I were the only ones drinking. We drank from when we landed until I knocked out on the floor. When I woke up, everyone was ready to go to bed. My brother and his girlfriend took one room, Eric took the other, Eddie took the couch, and my friend took the inflatable. When I woke up, Eric was offering his bed to me, asking if I wanted to sleep in the big bed in the second room since the inflatable was too small. I was still a little drunk.
Hold up. I gotta show you guys while I'm like tweaking about this cat being in the lamp right now. Most of you.
And then pull it as tight as possible so the curls come out more curly.
Yeah, and twisting is optional, but
Twisting works a lot better. So it should look somewhat.
Look, you see him right there? He's in the shade.
My cat's in the.
Yeah, that's the cat meowing. That screaming old man. And
stumbled my way to his room.
honestly,
I didn't think much of his offer, but I also wasn't going to turn it down. When I lay on the bed, I was still wearing the clothes from that day in my bathing suit. When he walked in, he nudged me to fix myself since I was on the edge of the bed. But when he woke me up, I was suddenly not sleepy anymore. And he wasn't tired either, so we watched TV. Midway through watching, I joked about taking more shots, and to my surprise, he got up to get the bottle. There we were, taking shots and watching Friends. I was watching with my head on his shoulder until at some point, he pulled me closer, so my head was resting on his chest and he was caressing my arm. Again, I didn't think much of this. In my mind, it still wasn't even a thought of us doing anything, until at some point we were face to face, close to...
Oh yeah, we were
We ended up hooking up on my couch, and then we hooked up again, and again, and again. We've been sneaky with it, but also very risky. But that's the fun part of it, and he gets off on the sneakiness. Once we almost got caught by my dad, but no one is suspicious because it's Eric, my brother's best friend who's been around for ages. It's been about 3 months of us sneaking around. We've gotten to a point where I've snuck over to his in the middle of the night, or I let him know when I'm home alone, or we just hook up in my living room. For context, Eric is always over and stays very late whether or not my brother's there, so it's very easy for us. Anyway, I've reached a point where I'm kind of over the rush of the plot. I know we're not going to date. He's made that clear because he wants a baddie, and I'm just not a baddie yet, you know? Like, I know I'm attractive, but I haven't reached my peak. Also, for the obvious reason of me being his best friend's little sister. So I've kind of made it a mission to work my way into becoming a baddie this summer, so he can want one he can't have. His old sneaky link also hit him up again, so I just don't even feel like messing around anymore before he starts messing with her again. Anyway, I want to be the one to end it, not him, because I don't want him to feel that power. I don't know how to explain it. He said I've been the best he's been with, which is why it's been hard for him to stop, but I feel like he sees himself as the prize, which I don't like. Anyway, I had my fun. Who knows when we'll end this fun? Probably soon. Just felt like saying something on here since I can't really tell many people. Am I a bad person for what I did to my brother? Should I stop hooking up with Eric? Shopping cart full of return-to-shelf stock.
I just said that this was gonna be the last video, but like you didn't even hear me on all the garbage we just watched. Well, I guess I'll just watch until we get to like here. 38. What's a confession you can only post anonymously online? Like, bro, I'd post half of these, a solid half.
Story 7. I fully understand that what I did was wrong, and that I never should have done it in the first place. Please don't hate on me. I don't think it'll add anything I don't already know. I'm 19 now, and I still regularly think about it. This all happened in an online chat platform. When I was younger, like 11 to 17, I had a serious addiction to adult content. It was so unhealthy. It
It got stuck in the branch that was growing on it.
genuinely affected my mental health. I was always thinking about it. It took over everything. At this point in my life, I didn't have any friends, and my parents didn't really pay attention to me. I was so starved for connection, I would do anything. I joined an inappropriate server, lied about my age, and told everyone I was 18. We started talking. He was much older. I don't really remember how old he was exactly, but it was somewhere around 36. I know, it's a lot. Insane. We exchanged all kinds of explicit messages in media. I never showed my face, but he did, all the time. He became obsessed with me. He even used some of the pictures I sent as his profile picture.
This is a dude, right? This is dudes.
In computer wallpaper. He actually printed them out and would send videos doing things that, looking back, were very disturbing, even for me. At the time, I liked talking to him. We chatted daily for about 4 months. He was extremely kind and understanding, or at least that's how it felt to me. He told me how much he was attracted to younger people and talked about dynamics that I now realize were really concerning. I once asked him how he'd feel if I was underage, and he said he loved me the same.
What?
Looking back now, that was deeply wrong. But eventually,
How did we go from meatballs to pedophilia? Bro's waiting for the YouTube monetizers to quit watching.
so I told him the truth. He didn't seem to care much. He wasn't mad, which is probably even more concerning. He said he didn't want to talk anymore, which was absolutely the right choice. After that, I blocked him, deleted my account, and tried to move on. I know what I did was wrong, but I was a lonely, confused kid doing unhealthy things for attention. Story 8. I worked at a major donut chain in the U.S. when I was in high school, and I had a system where I pocketed a lot of extra money each night. I started this shortly after getting in trouble for giving away day-old donuts to a homeless shelter. They would come by in the morning and take bags and bags of donuts that we were no longer going to sell. One day, my boss ended that due to a corporate email and told me to stop. The people from the shelter came by, and I was forced to refuse them. So now we were just throwing away a ton of donuts every day. But there was no way of tracking how much we were throwing away. It could be 5 donuts or 5 racks. That lack of tracking was part of the reason my plan worked. Back then, a standard dozen cost approximately $6.85 or $11.50 for 2 dozen, and most people paid in cash. It was easy to do the math on the change since the majority of sales were 1 or 2 dozen. Also, the drive-thru camera and register were broken.
One time, I made a entire website, and it was called Food for Free Foundation, and it was for homeless people in each town, and it had like automatic flyers or like buttons you could click, and it automatically create a poster and a QR code for that town. And most homeless people don't have phones, but you know, you'd scan it and it'd say like where to go or like where to pick it up. And then it had options to be like volunteer drivers, options to like volunteer drivers like pick it up and then like drop it off at the pickup locations for the homeless people, and they'd be like consistent pickup locations, so they'd be able to easily find it over time. Yeah, I made a website for that for a class one time. It was a group project, but I made the website by myself because I am an idiot.
2 years, so 90% of the time, I would open the register, make change, hand out donuts and change, and pocket the sale. Only if a customer asked for a receipt would I enter the transaction quickly. The till was never off because the transaction was never recorded, and we were never responsible for any discrepancy under $5. Mine was never off. There was no way to tell I was selling the donuts because we threw so many away and didn't track them. I'm sure sales figures slipped, but only a competent manager would have noticed, and mine wasn't. I probably took over $100 each night I worked and never got caught. I did this for about a year and a half until I left for college. Also, we stopped being 24 hours at one point. The third shift staff often left early and the store was a mess. For about a half hour after closing and in between cleaning, I would sit in the drive-thru lane out back and sell dozens for $5, cash only. I'd make an extra $20 to $50 in that half hour pretty easily, and customers were always happy. A, they could still get donuts, and B, it was cheaper. When I quit, I took about 10 of the giant aluminum racks we used after cooking donuts. We didn't use all of them, and most were broken, but I didn't really ask for permission either. I brought them to a metal scrapyard. Shortly after quitting, I did feel kind of bad about everything and made a donation to the homeless shelter we had stopped supporting, but not nearly the amount I pocketed. I try to be a much better person now than I was then. Story 9. I'm not going to disclose the exact location of this event because I want to protect my privacy, and I don't know all the details. My family home is on a dead-end street in semi-rural Maine, and I grew up knowing that my neighbor down the street was sketchy. He drove an old car and had bullet holes in his front door. The rumor was that he had harmed his daughter, served jail time, and got out on probation. This all happened about a decade ago when I was a child. He recently passed away, and his house has been abandoned and put up for sale. I've always been fascinated by abandoned places, so I wanted to check it out. The house was a lovely colonial New England style, and I was curious. I went in one day with little concern for my family and no worries about being seen by neighbors. To cut to the chase, I found a room upstairs filled with children's toys, plushies, dollhouses, action figures, everything you could imagine. Most of it was filthy. Then in the attic, there was an elaborate toy train system. I felt disturbed and deeply uncomfortable as soon as I saw that room. When I got home, I did a deep dive into the address and the man who owned the house. I found out he'd been arrested for multiple counts of harming children. I will never forget what I saw in that toy room. Knowing what that man did will forever make me sick. Story 10. I used to work for a company that illegally shipped alcohol to influencers, and I reported them once I was fired. My old company partnered with influencers to promote wine and beer. My role was to handle the logistics for these promotions, which included sending out bottles to influencers. However, we never had the proper license to ship alcohol in our state. Without this license, our shipments were...
When I just we had like 100,000 subscribers, I was one of those, and I donated him $100 because at the time I was doing dropshipping, and I sent him a $100 dono and a link, but I didn't know that if you close the YouTube app on iPhone after you pay for a dono on Apple account, like it goes through your iTunes, right? So I closed the app, and I get back on, and my dono's gone, but I paid the $100, so like I basically just gave him money because you know he didn't see the link at all because it just disappeared like immediately. Right when the chat started spamming dono.
Not compliant with the law. I raised this concern with my boss several times, but she insisted we proceed with the shipments. She didn't want to pay the licensing fee or have to report how much wine we were sending each month, which was several cases, even though the law only allows for 2 per month. In general, she was a very difficult person to work with. She constantly belittled me and was looking for reasons to fire me. Eventually, she succeeded. A couple of months later, I decided to report the company to our state. According to local law, shipping alcohol without the proper license is a Class 1 misdemeanor, carrying a maximum penalty of up to 12 months in jail and a fine of up to $2,500 per offense. I stayed in touch with a few former coworkers, and they confirmed that authorities had launched an investigation.
So I do know.
Unfortunately, we lost.
I don't know where you guys are from, but like I live in like a weird country like area, and you can buy like a pallet of beer, like six boxes stacked by 6 boxes like sideways, and you can get like a pallet and just throw in the back of your truck. So I don't understand how you can do that, but you can't like transport it like legitimately. But yeah,
Lost contact after I started a new job, so I don't know what happened next. I never told anyone it was me who reported them. I do feel a little guilty because, ultimately, the shipments weren't harming anyone, and I may have jeopardized the income of my former teammates and our influencer partners just to get back to my boss. Story 11. I feel very alone in the world, deprived of attention, and generally disliked by my peers. So I lie almost every day about little things, big things. I exaggerate details of events that happened or completely fabricate them. It's been going on for so long that the line of reality has become blurred. I don't know what's true or real anymore, and I find myself questioning thoughts, feelings, and actions regularly. Whether
like that was not what I was expecting it to be, but we'll get a better one for the next video. Thank you boys for watching. I will see you next week. Crazy YouTube clips. You can check out my other channels. I think it's at Life Winners Co for one of them, and then the other one is at LWC Game LWC. So yeah, you can check out both those. Subscribe, and I'll see you boys next time. Peace out.